and thank you for joining us. I'm going to take my mask off because I'm almost 6 feet away from you, Kelly. I'll be careful. I think we're hanging out in the same bubble, so we should be good for a while. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is our second Connect Duluth, and we are looking for different ways to communicate and answer questions, so we appreciate you sending in your questions in advance so we can have better answers for you. Tonight we're talking about raising standards. And we've been talking about that now for quite a few months, and you're going to hear a lot more about it. And when you talk about raising standards, I bet you're thinking, what exactly do you mean? What kind of standards are you talking about? Well, we're talking about just making Duluth look a little better. Just step up our efforts and try to make things a little more higher quality and just raise the bar a little bit. For example, Kelly, I know you will remember this. We decided a couple of years ago that we needed to pressure wash some of our public buildings because they were not clean. So we put some money aside and had this city hall clean, which was not inexpensive, was it?
No.
But again, it's about raising our standards, and how can we expect businesses and homeowners to raise their standards if we as a city are not willing to raise ours? So we are stepping up, and I think you'll see some different things that we're doing around the city to raise our standards. We're changing a fence out over at Public Safety for safety reasons, but also we want it to be more attractive. Now I want to show you on the screen some examples of what you could do to raise your standards. Well, first I'll do the median one. I have Taylor over here helping me. All right, so let's take a look at median when we talk about raising standards. So that picture is going to pop up on the screen. It's already there. All right, the top median is what our our Peachtree Industrial medians look like now. And they're not attractive, are they? In fact, several of you have said, I wish you would make our medians look better. Well, everything has a price tag to it, so we have to budget for that. But that's what our medians look like now. And then look at an example of raising the standards below it. Look at that median. So we are, in fact, Monday night at our council meeting, we're going to be looking at some plans, some landscape plans for the medians on Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. So that's what I mean about raising standards. Now the next couple of photos I'm going to show you are about raising standards as a homeowner. And those are on the screen now, from what I understand. All right, we do have code enforcement in the city, and we have 4 code enforcement officers. That 3 work with residential issues, and then 1 works with commercial issues. So we do want homeowners to also catch this bug of raising standards. Now you can obviously tell that the top photo is a place that has not taken care of their yard. And then the photo underneath is the house that's taking care of their yard. So we are looking at the way you're taking care of your place, your shrubbery, your weeds, your yard, the painting and the cleaning of your home, parking in the driveway and not parking on the yard, and those kind of things. So we really are stepping up, and we're going to raise the standards citywide. Now, right now, there is a community survey that you can complete, and so far about 600 people have completed it, but really we would like 600 more to complete it. It's due September 24th, so you need to hustle and do this. It's only for people that live in the city limits, and it's asking you questions about standards. What do you expect? What do you want? We need guidance. If we're going to enforce a higher standard, we need to know what you are willing to accommodate and live with. So take some time to fill out that survey, and we would really appreciate the feedback. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I'm supposed to say about that. Oh yes, there are a couple of more surveys coming out, and these are going to be really cool because they're going to be virtual surveys, and we're going to be showing you photographs and letting you choose which standard you like. So that's going to be more about commercial standards coming out soon. So look for those surveys. We really are asking you for your input. All right, so based on this introduction, we've had a few questions about standards, and the first one is going to be answered by Mayor Pro Tem Kelly Kelkenberg.
I will attempt to answer this question. Our first question came in, can we look at creating a walking path to downtown from our neighborhoods? And this particular person said, I live in the Carriage Gate subdivision, and if you look at an aerial shot, we are 0.9 tenths of a mile from downtown as the crow flies. And this individual is correct. That is the distance as the crow flies. And we as a city have, and as a city council, have tried to get increase our walkability of the city. That, as Nancy said, that all comes with a price tag. And so we keep looking at these things and try to figure out how to do this. The one thing we do not wish to do is do a lot of taking of private property to accomplish something like this. It's costly for you as a citizen, for the city to do that. And secondly, it doesn't make us real popular with the rest of with the citizens involved. So we try not to be taking any property that is not absolutely necessary. In fact, other than a sidewalk on 120, I think we have never taken any property in my 9 years on the city council. So it's not something we would do lightly. And this individual, I happen to know him, and I will say this: we will look at this. This gets factored in when somebody asks a specific question. We will look at this as we do our strategic planning on where to spend our money. It would be good because Carriage Gate there's a lot of houses in that area, and it would be feeding into downtown. So we will certainly take a look at this, and we look at all the neighborhoods as we look at where we should spend your dollars.
Mm-hmm. Another area that we've looked at is we are looking and working with the school system about changing the Duluth High School campus down the road, and Bridlewood would connect really nicely over there. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of connecting paths that we would like to put in. How about the Main Street path? Can we show them that photo?
Yeah. This is
up? Okay.
Okay. The Main Street path is on your screen, I believe. Yes, there it is. Now on our screen. There's a time delay, just so you don't think we're behind the times here. The Main Street multi-use path is a 8-foot wide.
I think we went with 10.
Okay, 10 feet. 10-foot wide path from downtown out to Peachtree Industrial along Main Street, all the way out past, to Peachtree Industrial. It's an extensive project, but it's designed as multi-use to accommodate both bicyclists, strollers, and pedestrians, walking, people jogging, etc. So that's why the width of the path is so large, and it accommodates a lot of people. It connects a lot of people back into downtown when we do that. Not going to be a cheap project, but it's going to be a very valuable project to us with all the people that it'll connect to downtown in a very direct way.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so I think we've answered that question.
I think we have.
Okay. All right, the next question says, as the city limits gains more density, what strategies will the city use to plan out better traffic patterns on Buford Highway, Highway 120, Peachtree Industrial Boulevard? Well, unfortunately, those roads do not belong to the city. And I know that sounds kind of crazy.
Sounds like you're passing the buck.
It does, doesn't it? And I'm not. I wish we could take it on and take care of it. You know, when the speed limit changed on Peachtree Industrial Boulevard a few years ago, everybody got upset with us about that, but we didn't know it was going to change either, and we were surprised. So these are state routes, and we have to work with them to come up with strategies to improve traffic patterns. For example, I am in my 13th year as mayor, and we have been talking about a traffic light at Davenport and Buford Highway for 12 years. And it is going to happen, but it takes a long time, and unfortunately, I do have to pass the buck. It's the state, it's Department of Transportation. So our strategies are by working with them. We do have a full-time engineer that works with the City of Duluth, and she is the one that works with these different agencies on our traffic patterns. So that's the best answer I can think of.
And you mentioned the Davenport traffic signal. That has been a topic of conversation during my entire tenure on the council, and it's not those of you who frequent that intersection and want to make a left turn, it isn't going to happen soon enough for you. And for those of us that come up there and want to make a right turn and we get behind you wanting to make a left turn, it won't happen fast enough for us either. We'd like to see it sooner than we know it's going to be possible, but the wheels have to turn, and we just kind of are along for the ride on that one. Unfortunately.
All right, listen to the next question. I know we have the same answer on this. With more infrastructure, will the city be proposing a tax increase over the next 2 years? We can answer that together.
The answer is no.
No, we do not have a tax increase in mind at all. We are financially stable right now, even with the COVID pandemic that we're dealing with. We've been frugal. We have stopped unnecessary spending so we could have a healthy budget, and we do not anticipate a tax increase.
Nope.
Anytime soon.
Nope. I don't think that any of us have an appetite for a tax increase. Remember, if there's a tax increase, we pay it too. There's no special discounts for elected officials or others. So no, there's nothing like that in the cards. And as the mayor said, financially, we're in really good shape. There have been, over the last 12 years or so, it has been really well done to have reserves in place to allow us to weather storms like the one we're just in right now. I won't say we're through it, because we're not. But the pandemic has really changed our cash flow, if you will, and what we can deal with it. And we know it's affected you too, so, and it's affected all of us.
Okay, all right, the next question. Is there any current plans for a walkway bridge across PIB to complete the walking trail up PIB to Swanee? And Kelly and I weren't really positive we understood if you meant a pedestrian bridge. I think you probably did. There is no bridge planned for Peachtree Industrial. The walking trail will be completed going all the way up to Swanee, but as you know, it runs parallel with Peachtree Industrial Boulevard, so there's been no talk of a bridge that I know of.
And that is a project that we're working with. The county is 80% of the funding on that bike trail. So it's also having to work. The one thing that we have to, as elected officials in the city, is deal with the county and negotiate what we're going to see there. So, but there's no plans, and nothing has ever been said about a bridge. And the individual that asked that question, both of us know him, and if you want to reach out to me, or I'll reach out to you, we can discuss exactly. It wasn't clear to us, I don't think either, exactly where you were suggesting this bridge might be necessary. So we'll follow up at a later date. I don't know that I have your phone number, but I know I have your email address. So I can get back to you.
Okay. All right, the next question is about the parking deck that is going up right now behind the Festival Center. There is a new Marriott Courtyard hotel coming up. Can you believe we're getting a hotel in downtown Duluth? I'm so excited. It's taken us years to do this. But as part of the project, the city actually owned the land that the hotel is being built on. So we were able to have a partnership project and the bottom floor of the parking deck will be all public parking, and it will be free parking. It's over 200 spaces. Am I correct about that? Don't remember exactly how many. It is scheduled to open up for us sometime in October. This October, like
Yeah.
2 or 3 days.
October 2020,
Yeah, 2020, yeah.
20 something else.
So I think we'll have access to that parking deck very soon.
And for those of you with electric vehicles, at some point, may not be when it opens initially next month, but there will be charging stations within that parking deck. So it's something I know we don't have in downtown Duluth, but that was part of that development going in, was that there would be some charging stations over there. So that's something else we're going to be proud of having in the city.
All right, next question. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. How about improving the intersection at Pine Needle and Abbots Bridge Road, which is also Highway 120? It is a sight distance impairment, and it is. Kelly, you want to grab that one?
I will grab that one, and we can talk about that one together. And I'm smiling because somehow it's almost like somebody proposed that has been at some of our meetings. Because recently we've had serious discussions about what to do there, again with the county, because parts of Pine Needle, when it comes into Abbots Bridge, are not in the city limits. And so we have to work with the county on this one. And we've talked about straightening the intersection to make it a T intersection. And that would involve taking of some land and giving up of some real estate in there as well. It's going to take some time, but we all appreciate that. It is. I've used that highway for years. I've traveled that way, and for years I've had. You have to have your head on a swivel to really operate through that intersection. So it is coming. We will be doing something there. I wish I could tell you it'll be this year, but it won't be. So there's no promises, but we know we're going to do something there, and making a true T intersection where your sight distance will be left and right clearly, not an obtuse angle that is hard to see because of the rise in the road when you're going westbound. Traffic coming westbound on Abbots Bridge is hard to see when they're down before they pop over that ridge. So we're aware of it, we're working on it, and stand by for more news. I'm sure we'll publicize it when we go to do that.
Okay. Any other questions?
About the traffic cameras?
Oh, you want me to talk about this, huh? Okay. Now, you know, most of you know, you've seen, we put it out, given public notice, plenty of notice, about our school speed zone violation cameras. And it's interesting, they went into effect, went into operation with the beginning of the school year, and we're working with that. Right now, if you get a notice of a violation, it will be a warning. There will be no fine. And I can assure you that this is what it actually looks like. And the reason I can tell you that this one is made out to none other than yours truly. And it was, I
Were you
achieved.
speeding?
I achieved this. I was 2 miles over the speed limit on the 1st of September. And I just show you this, that it happens for everybody. There's no special privileges for council members or others. So I have one of the first warnings from the City of Duluth.
How long are we in the warning phase?
30 days.
Do you know? 30 days. Okay.
So stand by. The fines will start next month. But I thought I'd share that with you, both as a little humor and as a serious part of, yeah, I'm guilty. But the system is working, and be aware that the speed zone cameras are out there doing their job. And it's all for the safety of our children. So
You know what I heard today, Kelly? I was told today that there was a speeder going by Button Elementary School. Is that right? Mason Elementary School on Button Road. Sorry, I knew that didn't sound right. At 75 miles per hour this morning during school hours. So That's why we're doing it.
Yes.
Safety of the kids, for sure. A lot of people are walking to school these days, and we need to all
And
slow down.
That comes back to our original intent was to make Duluth walkable. So that's one of our goals is to keep it walkable.
Mason Elementary. I don't know why I said Button Elementary. Sorry.
That's not right.
I've never heard of that school
Okay.
either. All right. We don't have any questions right this moment, so let's put up a photo of our library, if we could, and show that.
Okay.
All right, as you know, the new library is finally coming up, and it looks great. It's going to be up close to the road. Again, that's because we want a walkable downtown, and we want people to feel like they can walk into all the buildings. The parking will be behind the library, between the library and the railroad track. The library is a really cool design. It is supposed to look like an old factory that would have actually sat on a railroad track back in the early 1900s. Of course, it's much more beautiful than that, but the shape of the windows and the brickwork is all part of a little bit of our history, looking back at buildings that were often found along the railroad track. This particular building was modeled after an old cricket box factory that actually sat in downtown Duluth where the Red Clay Music Foundry is. And they made boxes for crickets. And what were the crickets being used for? Fishing. Because we're right by the Chattahoochee River. So it's bringing back a little bit of our history, telling the story about the cricket box factory. This library was supposed to open in December, but obviously that is not going to be the case. So the new date they have given us is March. And we will certainly be inviting you to this grand opening. We're very excited.
Yeah, between the wet weather and COVID, it is running late over there, and I think most of you can appreciate the amount of wet weather they had while they were trying to get the foundation in and put that building, get the structure ready to go. So there's been some delays, and then COVID sort of gave everybody a crimp and in their projects. So it is coming along, and if you've been in downtown, you can see they've made a lot of progress in the last month or so. So it's looking good, and I can believe the March date.
I think we have just a couple more minutes. Did you want to have any other photo you wanted us to show, like Soto maybe?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. There's Soto.
Soto. In case you're wondering who I'm talking to, Taylor over here is in charge of all this, and she's our camera lady, and she's doing all the visuals for us. So thank you, Taylor. All right, Soto, south of downtown. That's what that stands for. This is at the intersection of Buford Highway and Davenport Road. And this is all part of us being able to get a signal there. GDOT would not approve a signal until there was some kind of project planned for that intersection. Now, originally they were going to start this fall, but again, because of COVID, everything's been delayed, but they are set to start again in the spring. It will take a couple of years for this project to happen. This is not quite as large as District on the other corner, the District apartment. It is the same developer, so we know that we're going to be getting a high quality development, but a little delayed, probably a couple of years before we actually see that opening.
Okay, we've just had a question come in. What are the tents on the town green for? The tents on the town green are for your use. We wanted to offer shelter and a place for people to socially distance, since we are not frequenting restaurants the way we used to. It's kind of a change, and so we put up the tents, got the tables, and put out the hand sanitizer and the wipes to wipe off the tables. But the bottom line is those tables are for you to use, but you can take your food or bring your food. You don't have to take it out of a restaurant. You can actually bring your food. Mm-hmm. All we ask is that you clean up after yourself, because your mother doesn't work around those tents, and so you're going to have to clean up after yourself. But they're there for you to use and enjoy, socially distance, and just have a good time.
Well, you know what we've learned from having these tents? We have learned that what we are missing in our town green is shade. And we are going to try to do something about that. We have ordered some of the shade that you've seen around in other developments, Avalon, and there's some other places, and they're movable. We can have them up during sunny weather, and then we can unclip them and take them down during nice weather. So we're going to be adding more shade. And speaking of shade, we really lost a big shade tree, didn't we, or two? And boy, we hated that. That tree had been cabled for several years, and if you looked up in the tree, you could see that the cables were holding the branches to the tree. Because we have cameras around the city hall, we were able to catch on camera several tree limbs falling. So of course that is not safe. So we had to remove four trees a couple of weeks ago, and that was painful for us, but we are going to replant, and we're going to actually try to develop a program that we start planting trees before we have to start removing them, so we can start developing that shade again in town green.
And the decision to remove those 4 trees was made after careful evaluation by an arborist, a trained forestry person, and as well as our park staff. We agonized over it, but we recognized from watching it, as the mayor said, branches fall, and at least one of the videos I saw, there were 2 people nearby when the branch fell, I would say out of the blue, because there was not really any wind that day. It just came down, and we couldn't afford the liability. Actually, once we know that that's a problem, we have to do what you would have to do as a homeowner, and that is fix the problem. And after consultation with the arborist and the experts, it was determined that those 4 trees in particular, and I have to say this, forensically looking at those trees afterwards, it was the right decision, because they were basically rotten on the inside and waiting to fall down. So we saved ourselves there, but it did take out some shade, and that's
We're going to bring
unfortunate.
them back. Okay, we're going to wrap up our 30 minutes. I want to remind you that we all are participating in a census this year, and the deadline for that is September 30th. So if you have not completed yours, please do. We are actually a little above the national average on completion. We are at 69%, which is good, but we would really like for everybody to complete this census. This is how federal money is allocated to cities and counties and states. It's based on this census. So when you take the time to complete it, you are helping us put our hand out for more federal money when it comes our way, which are road projects, transportation projects, just endless ways that we could use that.
One of the things right now that we're dealing with that is population based is the distribution of CARES Act funding that Congress set out, and it's all based on population. So Duluth, being the 3rd largest city within the county, will get its share, but it's based on population. So we need to know everybody that's here, that's in the city, and be able to account for them, because they expect our services, and we want to be able to provide those. And one of the ways we get funding for those services is through that the money from the federal government that comes down to us. So please do the census.
Do.
Plus, it's required by the Constitution. In case you read the Constitution, it's right there in the beginning.
I have not read that lately.
I have it on my desk.
All right, so tonight, I think we touched on raising standards. And again, I want to emphasize to you that please complete those surveys. We want to hear what standards you think are acceptable for Duluth. We want you to help us raise the standards, and we want you to hold us accountable for keeping the city and our properties in good shape, our parks, our sidewalks, our streets. All of that is about raising standards. So As homeowners, we have that responsibility as well. And as business owners, we have that responsibility to keep our businesses attractive and looking nice. So it's all about raising standards. So thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope that you'll do this again. Thank you.
Thank you.